Hi, my name is Rob Dunwood from Cayosoft, and in this video we'd like to demonstrate bulk creating hybrid Active Directory users utilizing Cayosoft Administrator. A hybrid Active Directory user is simply an Active Directory user created on premise that is also synchronized with Office 365 in the cloud or Azure AD in the cloud. Bulk creating hybrid Active Directory users natively requires multiple interfaces, multiple tools, and possibly even PowerShell scripting. We'd like to show you how we can do this with what's called a runbook in Cayosoft Administrator and simply just a text file that includes the users that you would like to create. Before we get started, we should probably explain what a runbook is. So I just want to go and show you some of the runbook templates that we have. The one we're going to work with is provision hybrid users. And essentially, a runbook is just a sequence of rules or actions that need to happen in order. In our case, we're going to create a hybrid user. There's multiple steps involved in creating a hybrid user. Our runbook already goes through all of these steps, and really all we need to do is set up which users do we actually want to provision from our runbook. I've actually already created a runbook, so I'm just going to switch over to that and we'll start there. To get to the runbook that we've already created, we want to come over to our left pane. We're going to hit the drop down next to rules. Under rules, this is where we'll find all of our rules and all of our runbooks. I've created a runbook called Provision Hybrid Users Demo. So if you open this up, we're going to see several things. The first is the actual runbook, and the runbook once again is just a sequencer. It's basically just a collection of rules that run in sequence. These 4 rules that we find under the runbook are actually the actions that I'm going to take when I provision my hybrid users. So if you go look at the sequence, the first rule that we want to take out, and the one that we're going to spend a little bit of time on, is the text file create Active Directory users. So we are going to provision our Active Directory users from a text file. So the first thing you'll notice is I have the ability to select a data source. I can also create a data source. So if I hit this create button, you're going to see a little editor open up where I can select a template. I do want to create 80 users, so I'm going to hit select, and we're going to see a bunch of headings: first name, last name, initials, description. These basically are some of the most common attributes of Active Directory objects or Active Directory users when they're created. So I could very easily just type in the name of a user. So I've got a first name, I've got a last name, I could put in initials if I chose to do so. I could have a description, department, some of the most common departments. In our case, we're going to use engineering. I could put an office in. And ultimately, you'll see that there are multiple attributes that we can enter in for this account. What's necessary is something that's going to uniquely identify the user and allow us to create a logon name for the user. So in my case, I'm actually using a combination of my first name and last name to create a username. So I could save this text file. In our case, we're not going to save it. I've created a text file just for brevity's sake. So what I'm going to do is just hit my little picker. I'm going to go select my text file, and we can see that I've actually entered in some information for these accounts. Once again, it's just first name, last name, department, title, and office is what I'm going to use. You'll also notice that we've got some actions. The first one I'll take a look at here is the account. Logon name. How do we create logon names? So in our case, I want to actually use a nomenclature first name dot last name from the CSV file. So essentially what's happening here, we're going to do a bit of a calculation. We're going to go grab the first name, add a period, then add the last name, and use that as the logon name for this particular user. You will also notice that we have alternate name generation rules. The reason for that is that it is very possible that there are 2 Rob Dunwoods in our environment. So what do we do if we encounter an existing Rob Dunwood account? So we can actually come in and set what we want to have happen as far as alternate name generation rules. And you'll notice there's other things, settings, password information, organization information that we can pull from the CSV file. We have the ability to completely provision these users from the information contained in said text files. So in my case here, since I did change my rule by adding a text file, I want to save these changes. We'll click OK. And I'm going to go back and click on our Provision Hybrid Users Runbook, and I'm now going to run the rule. So you'll notice that I had a little bubble up here that changed from blue to green. This green indicator lets me know that the run book is actually running at this point. I could click on it and we can see what's happening. The service is busy. It's actually doing some things. Here's what's going on. So we're running our provision hybrid users run book. And once we click on these, we just bring us back in. And now that we see that that green bubble has gone, I can click our refresh, and you're going to see that I've got some execution history. And if we click on that, we're going to see what has actually happened. So in our case, we have several actions where we executed a text file, we ran 80 users and created them in the cloud. We executed an enforced license rule on those Office 365 users, and then finally we moved the users out of our staging OU and put them into the final destination OU. So a couple things we're going to notice now. If I were to go take a look at our execution history, we can see very specifically where we've actually done some things in our environment. So we've provisioned hybrid users. There were 4 of them. We used a text file and renamed or moved objects around. There were 5 objects that we modified. 80 users where we enforced license. We did that on 5 objects. So this is just letting us know what we've done in our environment. So if I were to go take a look at our actual portal, and we go look at Microsoft Office 365, and we look at active users, and if I just do a quick search here, you're going to see that the exact same names that were in our text file now exist as cloud users in Office 365. Additionally, if we were to go take a look at 80 users, and I'll just search for Chad. That was one of the accounts that we created because I've got quite a few Active Directory users. We're going to see the Chad Lemon account actually exist here in Active Directory as well. So what we've done with this provision users run book is we've actually created a user in Active Directory. At the same time, we went and we created the same user in Office 365. We enabled the license type for the user in Office 365. We can come back here, take a look at our active users. We'll go look at Chad once again, and we can see that he is licensed. And if I want to go look at his Office 365 license type, we can see that we actually gave this user an E5 as well as Visio Pro for Office 365. So this account is actually licensed, exists, can log on, has a username, has a password, so on and so forth. It's a completely provisioned user. It exists in the proper organizational unit based off of our business rules, and this user is ready to do some work in our AD. Thank you.